On my wedding day, she squeezed my hand and whispered, "I'll always protect your happiness." 10 years later, she was the reason I lost it. The worst betrayal isn't from a stranger. It's from the one person who knew your entire story and still chose to rewrite it. Part 1. The Promise. My name is Rachel Thompson. I'm 35 years old. I live in Austin, Texas. I have 2 kids, Noah, who's 9, and Ava, who just turned 6. If you saw our family photos a year ago, you'd think we were solid. Smiling, vacationing, matching pajamas at Christmas. But pictures don't show what's happening behind the camera, and they definitely don't show betrayal. Her name is Lauren. We met when we were 14. Same math class, same sarcastic humor, same dreams about leaving our small town and building big lives. We survived high school drama together, college stress, bad relationships, career confusion. She knew every version of me, the insecure teenager, the ambitious college student, the nervous bride. When I met my husband Mark, she was the first person I told. "I think he's different," I said. She smiled and replied, "Then don't let him go." On my wedding day, she stood next to me as my maid of honor. Right before I walked down the aisle, I started shaking. She grabbed my hand tightly. "You're safe," she whispered. "He loves you. I can see it." I believed her, and for years, she was right. Mark was attentive, hardworking, funny, a good father. We built a life together, a house in the suburbs, 2 kids, weekend barbecues, school events. Lauren moved to New York after college for a corporate job. We stayed close, calls, texts, birthday trips. But distance changes rhythms. Life gets busy, especially when you're raising children. After Ava was born, I left my marketing job to stay home. It was supposed to be temporary. Mark's career started taking off around that time. Longer hours, more travel, more important clients. He said it was for us. I believed that too. Then one day, after almost 7 years away, Lauren called. "I'm moving back to Texas," she said. "New job, new start, and I miss you." I was genuinely excited. It felt like getting a piece of my old self back. When she arrived at our house for the first time, I hugged her like no time had passed. She looked amazing, confident, sharp, polished. Mark came home early that evening. When I introduced them again, because it had been years, they smiled politely. Too politely. I noticed it, but brushed it off. Why would I question my best friend? Why would I question my husband? That's the dangerous part of trust. It blinds you gently. At first, it felt normal. Lauren came over often, played with the kids, helped me cook, talked about work stress. Mark seemed impressed by her job position. "She's doing really well for herself," he said one night. I felt proud. But then small things started shifting. They had long conversations about business, investments, ideas. I wasn't part of those conversations. Sometimes I'd walk into the room and they'd go quiet. "Just boring finance stuff," Lauren would say with a laugh. But it didn't feel boring. It felt private. One evening, we were all sitting on the patio. The kids were inside watching a movie. Lauren told a joke. Mark laughed harder than I'd seen him laugh in months. And the way he looked at her, it wasn't friendly. It wasn't brotherly. It was curious, interested, engaged. I felt something tighten in my chest. Later that night, while loading the dishwasher, I casually asked, "You and Lauren seem to connect well." Mark shrugged. "She's smart, easy to talk to." Something about the way he said it lingered. Easy to talk to. When was the last time he said that about me? Days passed, then weeks. Lauren started texting Mark directly, at first about business advice, then about random things. Memes, articles, inside jokes. I only knew because one night while he was showing me something on his phone, her name popped up. "Don't forget tomorrow." My stomach dropped. "Tomorrow? What tomorrow?" I asked calmly. "You meeting Lauren?" He didn't hesitate. "Yeah, coffee. She wanted advice about negotiating her contract." Without telling me? Without inviting me? That's when the whisper inside my head started growing louder. But I told myself I was overthinking. Insecure. Dramatic. Because betrayal doesn't announce itself loudly. It creeps in quietly. Then one afternoon, everything changed. Lauren was supposed to come over around 6. I took the kids to my mom's earlier than planned because Ava wasn't feeling well. I decided to come back home alone to grab her favorite blanket. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. But I heard something upstairs. Footsteps. Soft voices. And laughter. Not casual laughter. Close laughter. I stood at the bottom of the staircase. Frozen. Because deep down, I already knew. And sometimes the scariest part isn't seeing the truth. It's realizing you sensed it all along. I took one step up, then another, my heart pounding in my ears. Their voices grew clearer. Mark's voice, Lauren's voice, low, intimate. The bedroom door was slightly open, and through that small gap, I saw my husband reach for her, not by accident, not confused, deliberate. And in that single moment, my wedding promise, my friendship, my entire version of stability collapsed, quietly. Through that small gap in the bedroom door, I saw his hand on her waist, not pushing her away, not hesitating, holding her like he had every right to. My brain refused to process it at first, because when betrayal comes from two people you love, your mind tries to protect you. Maybe I misunderstood, maybe it was nothing. But then she leaned in, and he didn't stop her. That was it. That was the moment something inside me shut down. Not loudly, not dramatically, just permanently. I pushed the door open. It hit the wall harder than I expected. They jumped apart instantly. Lauren's face turned pale. Mark looked stunned. Rachel? It's strange what you notice in moments like that. The way the bed sheets were wrinkled, the way her lipstick was slightly smudged, the way he looked more afraid of being caught than ashamed of what he was doing. How long? I asked. My voice didn't shake. I don't know how. Neither of them answered. How long? Mark stepped forward slightly. It's not what it looks like. I almost smiled, because it looked exactly like what it was. Lauren started crying, actually crying, as if she were the victim. Rach, I swear, we didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean? Affairs don't just happen. They grow, they build, they are fed. How long? I repeated. Mark finally spoke. 2 months. 2 months. 2 months of family dinners, 2 months of school drop-offs, 2 months of movie nights where she sat on our couch, 2 months of lying to my face. Were you ever going to tell me? I asked. Silence. That silence answered everything. I looked at Lauren. You held my hand at my wedding. She sobbed harder. Rach, I didn't plan this. It just developed. Developed. Like it was a business partnership. Like it wasn't my marriage. My chest felt tight, but tears wouldn't come. Not yet. Mark ran a hand through his hair. You've been distant too. I stared at him. I've been raising our children. The nerve. The audacity to blame me. Lauren whispered, we didn't want to hurt you. I let out a soft, bitter laugh. You already did. And suddenly something became clear. They weren't sorry it happened. They were sorry they got caught. That's a different kind of guilt. And I could see it plainly. I walked past them and down the stairs. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I didn't beg. Because in that moment, I realized something powerful. If I had to compete for my own husband, I had already lost him. Mark followed me downstairs. Rachel, let's just calm down. Calm down. The phrase men use when they're losing control of the situation. Are you in love with her? I asked quietly. He hesitated. That hesitation hurt more than the kiss. I don't know, he admitted. There it was. The truth. And once truth is spoken, it can't be taken back. Lauren stood by the staircase, silent now, watching, waiting, as if she was hoping I'd fight for him, as if this was some twisted competition. I'm not going to beg, I said calmly. Mark blinked. What? I'm not fighting my best friend for my husband. If you want her, then go. Lauren's eyes widened. Mark looked confused. You're just giving up? Giving up? No. Choosing myself. You already gave up, I replied. The house felt heavy, the air thick. I thought about Noah, about Ava, about how they still believed in stability. I swallowed hard. You need to leave, I said to Mark. For a few days. We'll talk about the rest later. Lauren stepped forward. Rach, please don't hate me. I looked at her slowly. You knew me better than anyone. She couldn't hold my gaze. That told me everything. Mark grabbed a bag from the closet upstairs. He didn't argue much. Maybe he expected drama. Maybe he expected tears. He didn't expect calm. Before he walked out, he paused. Think about this, he said. Oh, I was thinking. Clearer than I ever had in my life. When the door closed behind them, the silence felt different than before. Not peaceful, but real. For the first time in months, I wasn't being lied to. I sat on the couch, and that's when the tears finally came. Not loud, not hysterical, just steady. Because I wasn't only grieving my husband, I was grieving the girl I used to be. The one who believed loyalty was mutual.
The one who thought shared history meant shared values. That night, when I picked up the kids, I smiled like nothing was wrong. I made dinner, I tucked them into bed, and when Ava asked, "Is Aunt Lauren coming over tomorrow?" my throat tightened. "No, sweetheart," I said softly. "She won't be coming for a while." And as I turned off the lights, I realized something. They thought I would fall apart. They thought I would chase. They thought I needed them. But they forgot something. I survived before both of them. And I could survive again. What they didn't know yet was that this wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of theirs.
The first night alone in the house felt unfamiliar, not because it was empty, but because the illusion was gone. For years, I thought safety meant having a husband beside me. That night, I realized safety meant knowing the truth, even if it hurt. Mark stayed at a hotel for the first week. Lauren went silent. No messages, no calls, no dramatic apologies. Silence is loud when it comes from someone who used to know everything about you. But I didn't reach out, because the moment I saw them together, something inside me rewired. Love without trust is just attachment, and I wasn't going to live attached to someone who chose someone else. The attempt to fix it. 3 days later, Mark came back to talk. He looked tired, less confident, less certain. "I made a mistake," he said. That word again, mistake, as if betrayal was accidental. "As in you tripped and fell into her?" I asked calmly. He flinched. It wasn't supposed to get serious. Serious. So there were feelings involved. That hurt more than the physical part. "Are you still seeing her?" I asked. Silence. That was my answer. "I don't know what I want," he admitted. And that was it. Because I did. I wanted peace. I wanted dignity. I wanted my children to see strength, not desperation. "You don't get time to decide between us," I said quietly. "You already decided when you crossed that line." He looked shocked. Maybe he thought I would cry. Maybe he thought I would negotiate. But betrayal clarifies things. He moved out officially 2 weeks later, not because I forced him, because he realized I wasn't fighting for him. And without competition, the fantasy faded. Reality hits them. Here's something people don't talk about. Affairs thrive in secrecy. They feel exciting because they're hidden, but when exposed, they become ordinary. Responsibilities don't disappear. Bills still exist. Kids still need rides to school. Mark started staying at Lauren's apartment. At first, it looked like they were happy. Photos at restaurants, weekend trips, public displays of new beginnings. But cracks appeared quickly, because relationships built on betrayal start with distrust. If he cheated with her, what stops him from cheating on her? That seed of doubt never leaves, and doubt kills romance fast. The divorce. The legal process was quiet, cold, transactional. We divided assets, set custody schedules, signed papers that ended a decade of marriage. Mark tried to keep things friendly, for appearances, for comfort, for guilt management. But friendly doesn't erase damage. I kept the house, primary custody of Noah and Ava. He got weekends. When he packed the last of his things, he looked around the living room slowly. "You're really okay with this?" he asked. No, I wasn't okay, but I was strong. "There's no version of this where I beg," I replied. That sentence changed everything, because in that moment, he understood something he hadn't expected. He wasn't losing a desperate woman. He was losing a dignified one. Lauren's realization. Months later, I heard from mutual friends. Lauren wasn't glowing anymore. She wasn't celebrating her new love story. She was stressed. Mark compared her to me in small ways. "She doesn't cook like you. She doesn't handle stress like you. She's not as patient." The irony? He missed the stability he once complained about. But here's the truth about consequences. When you trade loyalty for excitement, you eventually crave loyalty again. Lauren realized something too. Being chosen through betrayal doesn't feel secure. It feels temporary. And temporary love creates permanent anxiety. The unexpected visit. About 6 months later, Mark showed up at my door unannounced. He looked thinner, more tired. "Can we talk?" he asked. I stepped outside so the kids wouldn't hear. "It's not working," he admitted. Of course it wasn't. Fantasy rarely survives reality. She's not who I thought she was. I held his gaze steadily. "She's exactly who she is. You just liked who she was when she was betraying someone else." He didn't argue, because he couldn't. "I miss our family," he said. There it was.
Not I miss you. I miss our family. He missed comfort, stability, routine. He missed a woman who kept everything together. I forgive you, I said calmly. His head snapped up. But forgiveness doesn't mean access. That sentence hit harder than anger ever could. You're not coming back, I continued. Not because I hate you, but because I respect myself. And for the first time, he truly looked afraid. Because he realized something irreversible. I wasn't an option anymore. 1 year later. It's been a year now. The house feels lighter. The kids are adjusting. Noah asked once, "Why doesn't Dad live here?" I knelt beside him and said, "Because sometimes adults make choices that change things, but that doesn't change how much you're loved." He nodded. Children don't need perfect parents. They need honest ones. I went back to work full time. I reconnected with friends. I started therapy. I rebuilt. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. And that's the part they didn't expect. They thought I would crumble. Instead, I evolved. The woman who held my hand at my wedding walked away with my husband. But here's what she didn't understand. She didn't take my worth. She didn't take my strength. She didn't take my future. They lost someone loyal. I lost someone dishonest. And in the end, that wasn't a loss at all.